When you understand the nature of a thing, you know what it's capable of. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. Mainly because it's early, I have a lot of work to do, and it's also Lent, and I should be spending my time more in meditation while fasting, but I need to get this off my chest long enough to address an issue. Now, I didn't think I was going to do this video, but I gotta take the cake gloves off, and I'm tired of this shit. I mean, I'm seriously tired. And many people was wondering when I was going to get around to doing this. Well, congratulations, your day has finally come, Vic Damone. It's just you and me. Now, you claiming you pro-black, and I'm gonna put this out there for you guys, and y'all tell me if I'm bullshitting. But Vic Damone, first question I gotta ask you: how are you pro-black, but your name is the name of a white singer from the 50s and 60s? Doesn't make sense, does it? Ladies and gentlemen, if you pay attention, if you take that extra A out of Vic Damone, because there's two A's in the name he spells it with. Actually, yep, there's two A's. So if you take out the second A and you put that in the YouTube search bar, what you're going to find is it's a white singer. How are you pro-black, but you take a name after a white person? Well, we'll put that to the side. That's immaterial for now. We'll come back to that later. Vic, let me explain to you what your real problem is. Your real problem was that Tommy cut you off. He kicked you off the titty. Let me explain. Around the time you first linked up with TRS, and many people, contrary to what you like to tell other people, Tommy didn't start this problem with you. You started. Here's how. You used to call Your World My Views every show. And at the time, it was 2 shows a week. A Tuesday show and a Friday night show. And you expected to get on that show every time you called. And when Tommy wasn't putting you on the line, here's what you did. You went over to Tyrone Thompson's show. Now, whatever happened over on TRS that you flipped over, I don't know. But for the historical narrative, people remember, and he himself has admitted this, when he first started, he was anti-TRS and pro-Tommy Sotomayor. And then all of a sudden, he flipped. But he never explained how that happened. And before, I'm going to say this up front. If he tries to explain this, ladies and gentlemen, remember, Vic Damone is a known liar. He himself cannot distinguish fact from fiction, reality from delusion. Maybe it's because of all the weed he smokes, or maybe because there's something in that weed that is lacing it that he smokes. But one way or another, this motherfucker's out of his fucking mind. Now, back to what I was saying. At that time, Vic, you totally went and flipped over. And I was like, no problem, cool. Just because we have dissenting opinions does not mean we can't have a friendly banter. But then you start doing weird shit. You'd start editing videos out of context. You would start trying to get this man's attention. Now, Vic, you have recently admitted that you grew up in a single mother home from Jersey to Detroit. And all of your actions and antics scream for attention. Because when the man wasn't talking about you, you were still doing videos about him. You were. The dates on your channel with all the videos you put up, they line up. We can go back through all Tommy's shows where he's never said anything about you, and on those same dates we can still see you putting up videos. Remember, Vic, you started this. Now, here's the key thing that you said I lied in the email exchange with you yesterday in the morning. You said I lied about, but I didn't. Remember, Vic, you went on to Wood Grain Radio Freestyle Friday, where I confronted you about putting out that man's daughter's address. And your issue with me, number one, you want to know why I donated to him, which is none of your fucking business. No man worries about what another man does with his hard-earned scratch. Number two, you was worried about why am I defending him, and I explained to you, even though I know him as an associate, or I don't even go as far as say the word friend, I'm sticking up for him as a parent to another parent. And you defended it then, as you did now, Well, he inboxed my wife on Facebook, which you never produced the screenshots, Vic. Stop it. Stop it, Vic Damone. Cut it out. You took it a step further. And I'll even go as far as saying, you know what, I'll concede it to you. He did contact your wife. What did he say that was so out of line that you had to expose his daughter to harm? I'm curious. Because to see me, any real man would not put someone else's kids in harm's way. Vic Damone, what if I put your daughter in harm's way? Just curious. Now, I would never do such a thing because it goes against my principles. But just imagine for a second, Vic, I did that. Imagine if I did it. Would you feel alright if people start sending shit to your house, talking shit about your girl and your daughter? Of course not. But you do it to other people. But like many other things, it's going to come back full circle later. Now, after the wood grain radio incident, Vic, for the most part, we didn't have too many interactions. But ladies and gentlemen, you go through all 70 some odd vids that Vic Damone has commented on. And you can see that Vic Damone has been in earnest for the last 2 years, has been trying to convince me and playing to my sensibilities how I'm an upstanding guy and I'm all this and why do I fuck with Tommy. You see there's a pattern here, Vic? You have a Tommy obsession. Now, being that you've admitted that you have not had a father figure growing up, I see this as a desperate cry for attention. Hell, for all the other dudes that Tommy has beefed with over the years, some of them have actually learned to leave this man alone. You don't hear Jason Black. Well, I don't listen to Black Authority Rate, the blackchannel.net anymore, so he could be. But for the most part, I haven't really heard any real significant chatter of Jason Black saying anything. Later for that coon-ass Tariq Nasheed. Umar Johnson don't say nothing about him. So, pardon me, I had to pause the tape. In the interest of getting this done right, I'm going to read some of the emails between Victor Mann, as what it's showing on my Gmail. I don't know if that's his real name. And myself, which started on February 9th, which was at 2:01 in the morning, and ended around 12:18. Now, my intro message came up was essentially, I said, it's weird that it's funny how you call other people a coon, but you sit around doing drugs, non-working, and stalking people on YouTube. You talk shit about a man and his daughter, but you do dumb shit with your daughter in the house and you call yourself a Christian man. He goes, funny how you call yourself smart, but you haven't even looked up the word coon to see what we were talking about. Vic Damone, that's a reference to the video called What the Fuck is Cooning. Apparently, unlike you, Vic, I do research. So I already knew what the word meant. But I decided to play on it and play ignorant and see what kind of responses I got. See, this is the thing about people like you. If you know I'm an intelligent man, you would have to reasonably assume I would know what the word meant. If I was ignorant of something, I would just simply do the research. But let's move on. Second, you don't have a clue on what me and mine do, so don't assume, because when I do it, you end up emotional. Emotional about what, Vic? You can't demonstrate anything you said about me that's got me upset. Period. Then you're quoting Matthew 7:1, which says, judge not lest ye be judged. We'll get to that in a second. Now my response was, no, you idiot, but since we went there, let's do this. You're reading the Bible for reading, not comprehension, and you mislead others knowing full well you're not even sure what the fuck you're talking about. For example, you use Matthew 7:1 as an out, but it means for you not to make your way a law unto others, and you don't judge people without the common ground and reasons to do so. And furthermore, you don't talk trash about other people when you're just as filthy as they are. But since you claim you're a Christian man, Victor, go down to verses 20 to 23 of the same chapter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where, if you've talked with Vic Damone about biblical principles, and I'm going to tie this in later, this will all make sense. This is the same dude that sat here and he talks all this stuff out the Bible long-winded and would get clowned on his own show at TRS, just like he gets clowned on Real Game Radio. Now the passage he threw at me Vic Damone took that one verse and he ran with it. It's the same habit he does when he harasses Tommy. He takes one thing and he deals with that. He doesn't deal with the context. So he never deals with what led up to it and the aftermath of the statement. He just takes that and he runs with it. This is the mark of a true idiot. A person who deals with any sort of information, whether it's religious or technical, any form of information, period, he reads for the context. Because sometimes you can read one thing and get one impression, but if you don't have the proper context, you're going to miss what's really being said. Of course, that's Vic for you. Which is why I'm calling you out straight. You can't talk about someone being as a fucked up individual when you're doing fucked up shit yourself. Case in point, Vic, you've openly admitted on Blog Talk Radio that you smoke. It was on TRS, I believe. You openly admitted to smoking weed on your property in your home, just not in front of your daughter. So let me get this straight, Vic. You talk shit about Tommy with his daughter not living with him. Yet we can clearly see Tommy take his daughter out. He spends time with his daughter on and off camera and never does anything illegal. But you smoke weed in the same place where your daughter lives at. And you call yourself a good father because she just lives with you. Okay, I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Let's move this along. If you were so pro-black, regardless of what another man's opinion was, you never diss one of your brothers. Which is true. If you were so pro-black, Vic Damone, regardless of us having a disagreement, at the end of the day, you would never use terms like coon, fag. You would never diss your brother. You would try to persuade your brother. And if you can't persuade him, you would respect the differences of opinion, but you will always hold your brother up in spirit, truth, and love. But that's not you, Vic. You know why? Because remember, you can't even live by your own biblical principles. You who claim you are a Christian man can't even walk in spirit and truth. So how can you have brotherly love for a man, even if you disagree with him and his opinion? Of course. Moving along though. The scripture is direct, and this is Vic Damone now. And the word without is not there. Secondly, you are saying that it's okay for coons to lie and attack pro-blacks, but if we play on their rules, we're all idiots. Well, Vic Damone, you being the king of trolls have said it yourself, and I'm going to paraphrase you. There is rules. And matter of fact, while on the subject of who's lying, Vic Damone, can you point out what the quote-unquote coons have lied about? Because number one, we know you're really not pro-black. You're just a defender of black pathology. Don't insult the true pro-blacks like that. Don't. But say what we lied about. Because everything that you accuse people who are against the quote-unquote pro-blacks on YouTube, we document everything that we say. And we give you the evidence to back up what we're saying. You, Vic, are intellectually dishonest. You mislead, you lie by omission. You willfully misrepresent people's arguments to make it sound like you're saying something else, and then you attempt to stand on top of that. Remember, Vic, how can you be a Christian man and be about your people when you can't walk in spirit and truth? Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. He goes on to say, he inboxed my wife, I'm paraphrasing, that I'm still with, and when I told him this to his face, he said, "What's your point?" Then he goes up a step further, ties us up with a bullshit lawsuit that you supported him on. Number one, he didn't sue you. He sued Tyrone Thompson. I'm not going to use the legal name that was on the document because I don't have the rights to, and Tyrone Thompson didn't give me permission to. And even though I don't like that motherfucker, respect is right. You still respect other people, something you know nothing about. Number two, Vic, and I'm pretty sure I'm not even going to read my next reply because I pointed this out, so I'm going to say it right now. Vic, I told you produce the evidence. Now you're going to say it's on my Facebook page, which I'm pretty sure it is, except for a cursory search, has never turned up any Facebook page of yours, but I'll be charitable and say you'll put it in the box below for other people to look at. But like many other things you do, Vic, you edit, chop, and screw things to try to make it seem like it's one way when it's not. Because you won't put the source video in. Because if you put the source video in, we know what will happen, Vic. You'll get exposed as a liar. That's what it's going to be for you. But let's continue, please. Let's open this email. Excuse me, I have to switch this up. Going back into the email now. I've said to him in that email, he goes on to say, and then the nigga go, now in 2016, I'm 5 months away from turning my content into something, and the nigga goes to my studio, he tells people he hopes my 4-year-old dies, and releases a promoter troll that didn't attack me because that would make too much sense, but a dude making fun of my wife. So we have 2 wife attacks now. Okay. Number 1, pro-black Chris made a joke at your wife. That has nothing to do with Tommy. So if he promoted it, fine. You promote other people that attack Tommy. You know, Subtle Nation Killer, LA, all those other people. So it's okay if you do it, but not Tommy. Double-mindedness again. Then you talk about a studio you're building. No. Your wife is building that studio. It's probably her studio, and she's giving it to you. Vic, you don't work. You don't make any money online from doing anything. So unless you work as a street pharmacist or you working off the books to kind of dodge people for money that you owe, probably the state, you have no form of income. And I highly doubt you have a job that's on the books because you smoke weed. You've admitted this. And you smoke weed regularly. So we know if you take a piss test, you're dirty. We know this. So again, if you can't walk in spirit and truth, Vic Damone, how can you claim to love God and be about your people? Let's continue. All this you ignore because I don't have a right to my opinion on my own damn channel, which I never said. Vic Damone, I've never said that. Funny how you think you are all so on point with biblical principles, you just learned something new. Can you keep a straight thought, motherfucker? Just for 1 second. You went from talking about your wife and your wife being attacked to biblical principles. Non sequitur. What are you talking about? Vic Damone, let me point this out to you. My grandmother, God rest her, is an ordained minister. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. I've been a practicing Catholic for 6 years. I've actually done Bible studies academically and for my own personal. I myself could write a 55 to 75 page dissertation on the Synoptic Gospels. You can barely give a 3-minute YouTube video presentation without sounding like a pile of horse shit. I'm not thinking myself so above an individual that I can't learn from them, but I'm almost certain, Vic, that there's nothing you could teach me about the Bible. I've had more entertaining conversations with Black Jesus Minister, and sometimes I can't stand the man for how he talks to people. But I've had more interesting conversations with him on spirituality and Christianity than I've sat there. Listening to you talk about it is like listening to nails on a chalkboard. Let me remind you, Vic, on your own show at TRS, you were getting clowned by the females on your panel because you sound like a bunch of there is no fair equivalent that won't be overly profane that might get this video flagged to say what you sound like. So I'm gonna refrain from saying it. But let's get on with it. Now, of course, I went back and said this. Number 1, he didn't sue you. He sued Tyrone Thompson. I think I mentioned that. I don't think I mentioned the fact. Yep, in my response, I cut this off at the pass, so I'm going to skim through it. So I pointed out that you didn't produce the evidence, and you're a known liar because you misrepresent or you omit information. But there's an interesting point I pointed out, Vic, and when I called you a hypocrite. Vic, how can you be pro-black and be a Christian man upstanding, but you do the very things that God dislikes? A lying, deceitful tongue. Remember, Vic, Christ said it in the Gospels, choose ye this day whom you will serve. You cannot serve God and mammon. This will make sense later. I'm going to skip down further. Bottom line up front, you can never call yourself a man of God and a man that cares about black folks when you sit around lying, trashing, and trying to destroy the life of another person for a perceived slight. If you're going to talk biblical principle and you're going to talk as a man of black people, then you are to live as you've declared your maxim itself to be. Otherwise, you are a fake and a fraud, and all frauds will eventually be found out for what they are. Now, he says the first line of your text is a fucking lie. Why did I make the video? Good question, Vic. Now, what did I lie about? That you put out the address? Or that I lied about your motives? What was the real fucking reason? Nigga, those messages should be somewhere on your Twitter account. No, they wouldn't, Vic Damone. You've been blocked on my Twitter account for more than 2.5 years. I wouldn't see them even if I unblocked them. And if I unblocked them, they're so far buried, I would have to try to attempt to download them. And I'm not going to enact that labor. Do you even remember? Do you realize you're so fucking one-sided? Really? Amazing. When I told you he inboxed me, you called me a liar because you don't have any evidence. So I made him admit it, produced the video that you made him admit it on. And since you think that video is gone, it's still on my Facebook page, and you see him putting his own fucking address out and using his camera to look into other people's house. I'm gonna assume you mean a webcam, in which case that must be some new technology because I've never heard of that. But if you have a camera, if you have video footage, please put the link down below. That'd be fair. I'll be charitable and give you that. Now, for some strange reason, you think you can gain something from Tommy. Really? Am I you, Vic? Remember, I actually met the man in person. He's a cool dude. I actually have respect for him. There's a lot of things that I've learned from him, and some things I've probably opened his eyes to in a certain way. But the point of the matter is, I respect what he does. But see, unlike you, who was out to actually get something, I'm not out for anything. Remember, the man actually was going to help me build my platform. And then you and Clifton Rainey made a stink about it. Remember that? That was January of 2014, I believe it was. Yeah, January 2014. I was on TRS and y'all asked me about that. Funny. So, as a Christian, I noticed I defend my family at all costs, online and off. So, Vic, now which one is it? Were you defending your family, so you put that video out? Or did he put the information out and you just reposted it conveniently? I'm curious now, Vic, because I don't think you realize what you say when you say it. I noticed that you like that video that Tommy has of my wife being disrespected with my child. Real Christian of you. You get to lecture me about being Christian. Okay. If I didn't see the 20k views on a video calling my studio fake, 7k views calling my wife out when she never bothers anyone, maybe my videos would be nicer. You're a fucking liar. Because when Tommy wasn't talking about your black ass, you were still fucking with him. You were still making troll videos. Stop it. But since I've been on here, only people that had balls was you, LA, Tyrone, Monty. That's it. Tommy and the rest of the attack family. My mother. The list goes on. All over an opinion. Really. Produce the evidence where Tommy's attacked your family. If you can produce it and you can show him it's unsolicited, I'll believe you. And I'll apologize to you for that. But what you're telling me is, in a nutshell, is no matter what Tommy does, no matter how many times he attacks my family, do nothing, right? Interesting. So I'm going to go down my listed response. Vic, number 1, I liked the video because LA got clowned. Your wife is collateral damage. Get over it. Number 2, you put out where his daughter was staying at and admitted it on the Wood Grand Freestyle Friday. Don't lie that you didn't. For as much as the man makes fun of your family, I never saw one video that he released your address. Number 3, no they aren't, but since you're so damn adamant, produce them. Show the video in their entirety and not edit them to say something else. You see how I did a little aptitude? I played this whole video and debunked it, and I gave this whole source so that people can see what I'm talking about. That's called being honest. Number 4, I never said I was a model Catholic. In fact, I put it out there. But but I'm not going to pretend I'm living right when my own Bible will contradict that. What part of that don't you get? Remember that phrase I said earlier? Choose ye this day whom you will serve. You cannot serve God and mammon. Why do you feel like the need to have me Why do you feel the need to have me be against someone you dislike? When I disagree with something, I'll disagree. Most of the time, you people complain. You forget that you did something contributed to it. Then you call me out for being one-sided when you can't call the whole situation without trying to mislead me as if I'm not aware of what's going on. Stop it, dude. I never said Tommy was a saint, but the man has never gone and done what you've done with little or no provocation. Number 6, how does a man use a camera to look into someone else's home? And again, I'm assuming he's talking about a webcam here. No such technology exists. Now I know you're on Quaaludes. Number 6, you're confusing defense with stalking. I don't know how much bud you smoke daily, but it's fucking with your reasoning faculties, dude. Anyone who has followed this shit can show you. Hell, even Lost Again has told you this. Number 7, opinions are opinions, but they're based on facts, none of which you have but a rumor mill. No one is saying you can't say what you want. You very well can, but you must also face the responsibility of the response when you exercise that right. You know, the same way you're doing to Tommy, right? Now, here's a funny thing. Now, Vic Damone doesn't even address everything I said. So now he shifts. My wife is collateral damage. Laughing my ass off. Good one. I see why your marriage failed. You didn't even take those words to heart. Wow. Now, if your wife got put out like mine, are you cool with it? And this is what I said to him. My marriage failed. What are you talking about? I don't put my wife and children out there because you weirdos go after families. Here's how you don't read for context. You ignore how I liked the video because your co-host got clowned. Let it go. Nigga, my wife ain't making YouTube videos. Well, Vic Damone, by that same logic, Tommy's daughter isn't making YouTube videos, but you talk shit about her, didn't you, buddy? And while I was speaking on your attitude with baby mama number 1 failed, no real married man would allow his wife to be attacked on any level. But you are like Tommy. Black women are animals. It's all black women's fault. Stop blaming black women for anything. You stupid fucker, you. When did I marry this chick, Vic? When did I ever claim this woman as my wife? Are you serious? Really? So instead of dealing with what I said, now you're going to shift over to something else. You was a sedity ass nigga. I'm serious. You must have been baked when you did this video. I don't know. But you just jumped off of one issue to the next one. There is something mentally fucking wrong with you, dude. Seriously. You did a 59-minute video. 59 minutes and 1 second video telling a whopper of lies about a nigga you don't know, who you never seen, who you never will talk to in person. Because you believe he fucked with you first, but you was started trolling him. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, at the very outset of this video, I remind you, and I'm gonna remind you right now, Vic, the only reason you started beefing with Tommy because you went over to TRS because Tommy wouldn't give you no airtime every fucking night on his show that he paid for. That's where this shit got started. You can deny that all you like, but that's where this happened. You know how I know? Because on that same show, I called in. I called into that show, and we had a discussion because Tommy felt it was unfair that when I went over to TRS and I called somebody out for fucking with Tyrone's dead daughter, and they would start talking shit about Tommy, I didn't keep in the middle. I wasn't being impartial, which was the honest God's honest truth. I wasn't. But even then, we squashed it. It was no beef. It was no nothing. There you go. But getting back to the point, you sat here out your mouth and said all this stupid shit. Then after I give you an enumerated list, the first thing you do is you try to attack me about being a good man. Vic, the Bible says a man who doesn't work does not eat. You don't work, but you get your bread because your wife works, or you get a government handout. You talking about your marriage, my marriage is failing. I've been married to the same chick I've been dealing with since my freshman year of college for my associate's degree. I've been with her for 10 years. I've been married to her for 5 years, Vic. I've been with my woman for about as long as you've been with yours, if not longer. So what are you talking about? Seriously. If you're gonna talk shit about my personal life, know what the fuck you're talking about, Vic. Because unlike you, I pay attention to facts. It's the one thing I got paid to do while I was in the military. My job dealt with information. I pay attention to dates, facts, times, names, places, and people. And I could remember it whether I'm intoxicated or sober. You, on the other hand, need to make shit up in Candyland and pull it out of your ass to reality, which it doesn't make sense by the time it gets halfway out of your freaking mind. But let's continue. You went on to say in another response, she was never your wife. Doesn't it make it worse that you had a child that didn't want to marry her? In that 1 second, you made one of the worst decisions in your life, fucking a woman without a condom. Now, by the first mistake, it cost you the same price as Adam. Your life was fucked by Eve. Here we go. So now you're trying to backdoor the Bible in on me. You know what? I went out there. I made a mistake. I damaged and I hurt my family. But you know what's real? I was a man and handled my business. Every day, I gotta live with that. And you're trying to shame me with that? Seriously, Vic? Seriously? You live off your woman. You live off your woman. My wife don't live off me. We work together. Even if my wife decided to be a stay-at-home mom, we work together. She minds the kids. I pay the bills. I put the food on the table. The family eats on what I provide. The car needs fixing. I'm the one that does it. The bills need paying. I'm the one that pays them. Family wants to take a trip. I'm the one that does it. Vic, you can't never call me on my square about being a man when you yourself do nothing but sit around and stalk another dude online all fucking day, having bitch fits because he won't pay you no fucking attention. So you go up with outrageous stunts like a redheaded stepchild. And you got the nerve to get your yee ass haircut in the fucking camera. Like you missed the wise and all that. Man, do me a favor, Vic. Put the blunt down. Get off YouTube. Go fix some mouthwash and a job application. And come back to me, dude, when your shit is on point. But let me continue what the hell this idiot said. Now, don't you think you should be teaching young people to practice safe sex? What's wrong with that? Don't you realize if we started a movement, we could have a real impact? Vic, first and foremost, as a Catholic, and this is a sidebar, the only time sex should be practiced should be between married individuals. Now, in reality, I know that abstinence doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't. My religious beliefs keep me from endorsing that as a personal stance. But as a secular stance, yeah. But then again, I'm not telling people what they don't already know. But that's besides the point. You're talking about if we could have built the movement. Vic Damone, you can't even be honest, my nigga, with yourself. How the fuck or why the fuck do you think I would put anything of mine with yours? You who don't even deal in reality. Why the fuck would I work with you? I would have better luck working with Mike Mills, All Facts, LA, hell, even Tyrone Thompson. And all the motherfuckers I've all had issues with. And I could go ad nauseum for all the colorful piece of information I could drop. But I'd rather work with those cast of characters than you. Because you can't even distinguish fact from reality. He goes on to say, we have to stop blaming black women and start building our black men with confidence and power. My kind of power. That was a good one. My platform will be based on strength and consistency, not Tommy. And trust me, I don't know what it is to have a woman inside me. You sure about that? Because all your actions scream bitch when I look at you. And I just said, you know what? You can have it. You got the last word. But let me get back to it. Let me chill on that. You talking about, well, I don't know what it is to have a woman inside me. And I said, really? I'm going to repeat what I just said. Funny, because your actions scream bitch when I look at you. Vic, You worried about where I was spending out of my pockets. You worried about people I associate with. You stalk another man around the internet. Do me a favor. Never come for me like this ever again. Ever. Because you're the dude that's going around stalking people. Because you don't agree with their opinion. Nigga, you did a show last night. And the first 45 minutes of your show was cutting up, editing video clips about Tommy. You niggas can't do a show over there one night without talking about this dude in any capacity. Hell, LA, your own co-host has told you, you can't stop talking about him. And then you gotta make all these homoerotic references. Dude, I think you have a man crush on dude. Cause nobody fucks with a person they don't like consistently. Unless they like them. And when I mean like them, I mean in a way that's not appropriate between two men. I'm just letting you know, dude, if you was any kind of man, you know what you would do? Number one, if I didn't say this earlier, I'm pretty sure I did, I'm gonna say it again. You get some mouthwash, hot shower, and a job application. You do something about that yee ass haircut you rocking. You would take them videos down. You get rid of them. And then let's see what you do on your own. Cause then right now, what it is, you trying to build up off of somebody else's back, dude. And I can't fuck with that. You know what? YouTube, I waste enough of y'all's time already. I know this little faggot, he gonna come back with a video. And we gonna see what it is. I'm out.